Okay, so welcome back to the 10-6 diaries. So this is week 2 of training, of the second training cycle in the off season. So started with some 3-point stance accelerations on the Monday. I got really early before work and drove up to get this indoor session in because it started to get really cold out at this point in the UK, like typically, November, December, even like technically even like October, November, December, January, February, March. They're all sort of months you really want to try and train indoors because it just gets like way too cold to train outside. So had that, then had my Olympic lifts. My training schedule pretty much follows a consistent sort of pattern where it's going to be the same exercises. You're just going to kind of go a little bit heavy, bump the percentages up a little bit each week, and the rep scheme typically stays pretty much the same. Sometimes we'll increase it a little bit, but we'll decrease it and we'll increase intensity. That's kind of the general sort of general idea behind it. So this week I filmed the back squats 120 for some reps. The reps were a little bit scrappy on this set, but I was just trying to move it fast, and my knees were also a little bit sore after over jumping in last week's session, so the pain sort of like carried over because I hadn't really backed off too much. I wanted to kind of still go full blazing. I didn't want to back off too much. But yeah, I'm going to talk about my season. So planning to open up on the 7th, so I'm currently recording this on the 30th of December, so I will be opening in 8 days. Currently feeling maybe slightly underprepared, but I'll sort of see what next week brings, because it will be deload next week and I should feel a lot better hopefully once I back off a little bit from training, so that should hopefully get me into a good sort of shape for the first race of the year. But I'll just kind of see. I don't necessarily have a goal going in because I just sort of don't feel like it's necessary to kind of try and set a goal. It would be really nice to obviously go sub 7 and open up with that, but it's not necessarily in my mind because I'm not sure if I'm in that kind of shape just yet. I think I've definitely had flashes of greatness through this sort of like training blocks, through the training blocks I've done so far, but so I'll sort of see, I guess, how it goes. But I don't want to set myself up for failure by setting a goal that's sort of too unrealistic and out of touch. So I'll just sort of see what the first meet has in store for me. But yeah, so far training's been a little bit more hectic than last year. Like last year, it was honestly like everything seemed to just like click. Everything went perfect. I was getting stronger, more powerful each training cycle. Sprints were feeling better. I could see like a decrease in times. Whereas this time around, it feels like it feels like really strange and different. It feels like it's been all over the place. I think partly because the track that I would usually train at, the Emirates Arena, it's closed because they're hosting the World Championships there. So I don't have access to that track, so it means I've had to train at like this track that's not really optimal because it's not a great runoff, and then the other track that I've trained at is like not been great as well. So it's just like a bit of a struggle with that, but you just got to kind of make do with what you've got. Sometimes like some people aren't lucky enough to even have indoor tracks at this time of the year in the UK, so I've got to be grateful that I have the facilities to facilitate that. But it's just been a bit of a struggle, I think, with the circumstances I've got, but I'm sure it'll make me better in the long run going through these struggles. So that's sort of generally been it. So this week of training, I'll get back to talking about that. So this week was it was a solid week, honestly. Like I felt like I was lifting felt quite good. These reverse lunges here with 110 were moving really well, and I didn't really there wasn't like anything to complain about. I think I was still sort of relatively fresh after the first week of the new cycle, because it usually will go that you'll sort of deload the week after. So usually for the week of the deload, I'll kind of feel quite fresh. I know different people will respond differently to it. And then the week after as well, I'll usually also be quite fresh, and I'll be able to still perform at quite a high level, and sometimes it'll even, you know, span into the second week that I'm able to sort of maintain this high level, and then you'll obviously get a drop off of fatigue. So that usually happens, I'd say, like midweek of the second cycle is where I start to kind of feel the fatigue a little bit more. Like the first week or the first day, like a Monday for example, I wouldn't feel too bad. Sometimes even on the Wednesday I wouldn't feel too bad, but then by Friday I'll be a little bit fried, which was definitely the case. But yeah, these hill sprints, those look quite fast honestly, compared to what I was doing today with the hill sprints. Those look pretty quick actually. But yeah, I'm getting off topic. Olympic lifts were the only things that's the only thing that's really felt like strange this past sort of cycle and a half that you've seen. My Olympic lifts haven't quite been where they were. So when I was doing that VHAB training cycle that I uploaded, I think quite a few episodes ago now, my Olympic lifts were feeling like amazing, and I was like, I think the strongest that I'd ever been in them, and then I seemed to kind of like dip off. I think I just dug too much of a fatigue hole, and that just like messed me up. But yeah, that's just happens sometimes, I guess. You've got to just keep powering forward. That's all you can do. But yeah, this was a decent week training. I think the week after this I was a bit fatigued, but the week after this actually I was going to my top secret training camp location, going to Dunk with a friend that I met back in Dunk camp in 2019, so that was really cool to see him after so long. But yeah, you'll see that in the next video hopefully, because I'm pretty sure that is when I went over. So yeah, that really is it. I hope you enjoyed the video, and you know, stay tuned for the next episode.